We begin our report with the former president's criminal trial in New York. Adult film actress Stormy Daniels took the stand for a second day Thursday. She testified about an alleged sexual encounter with Trump in 2006 and a $130,000 payment in 2016 from Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen. That was to keep her quiet. The former president is accused of falsifying documents to cover up that payment and has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony charges. Before entering the court Thursday, Trump addressed the gag order on the case, which he's been held in contempt for violating 10 times.
I just want to let you know that we've just filed a major motion in the appellate division concerning the absolutely unconstitutional gag order, where I'm essentially not allowed to talk to you about anything meaningful that's going on in the case, and many good things are going on with the case. It shouldn't have been filed.
That characterization of the gag order is incorrect. The former president is only barred from talking about witnesses, jurors, court staff, and prosecutors and the judge's family. CBS News campaign reporter and attorney Katrina Kaufman joins me now from outside of the courthouse. Katrina, the judge denied Trump's request for a gag order modification. What more can you tell us about that? And I understand there was yet another mistrial request from the defense.
Yes, we just heard arguments both about modifying the gag order and the mistrial. The gag order specifically, his attorney Todd Blanche argued that during Stormy Daniels' testimony, so many details came out about her alleged encounter with Donald Trump, which Trump continues to deny. He denies that they ever had a sexual encounter together. And they say that Trump really deserves the right to defend himself. So now that she's off the stand, they wanted the judge to modify the order so that Trump could respond when he's on the trail, when voters and press are asking him questions. They want him to have the chance to be able to tell his version of the story. But the judge said that he really needs to protect the integrity of the proceeding and the witnesses. When one of the prosecution's lawyers was arguing during this, he actually said he had been speaking, I believe it was last night, with just a custodial records witness, which is someone who they use to bring in maybe a video, a document, and even that witness was worried about threats to their safety. We had also had a book publisher witness come in today, and she had passages of Trump's book. One of them was, he had written, "You attack people because other people see you doing it, and it sends a message." And both the prosecution and the judge had taken note of that. And he said that he just can't allow this gag order to be lifted while the trial is ongoing. He needs to protect these proceedings. And then regarding the mistrial, he said that really he put the onus on the defense. Too many details did come out, but he said that Trump's defense attorney, Susan Necheles, just did not object enough. And she had claimed she thought that he had ordered her not to, but then he said he literally went back through all of the transcripts and the motions and the orders, and he saw that she had actually objected maybe 10 times before there was a part of the story when Stormy Daniels said that Trump didn't use a condom. And he said, but you didn't object there, and you really should have. So he is not allowing a mistrial. This trial is still continuing.
And the reason, for anybody who might have been shocked about hearing that word in the early evening, the reason this is important is in the American legal system, we don't want a situation where a bunch of information gets into the ears of the jury that's not really directly about the case, because it can prejudice the jury against who's being heard. Is that essentially the conception there?
Exactly, yes. His attorney said that this information that came out is prejudicial. It paints a certain picture of the president for the jury that they just don't want them to have.
And finally, Katrina, the defense had their day with Stormy Daniels. What did they try to do, and were they successful?
The cross-examination of Stormy Daniels was very intense. It was almost like a volley back and forth between her and Trump's attorney, Susan Necheles. I think even the jury was kind of flipping their heads back and forth watching them. They really tried to undermine her story. She went to any inconsistencies that she could find in the way that Stormy told her story on the stand versus how she told it in prior magazine interviews or even in her own book. But sometimes it felt like she was really focusing on details like whether or not she had eaten dinner. This was actually a very long discussion, whether or not they had food in the room. And it didn't necessarily feel like it really undermined the credibility of the story. If anything, Stormy Daniels really stood strong with all her answers. Another thing she tried to do was paint the picture that she's motivated by money. She showed all of these different types of merchandise that she has sold, which are related to Trump's legal troubles, although Stormy retorted that Trump does that as well. And then another thing that was significant is during this very, very intense questioning, she would periodically, Susan Necheles, Trump's attorney, just say, "You've just made all this up, haven't you?" Anytime she was pointing to an inconsistency in the story. But Stormy Daniels really stood strong, and I have to say, I think she came off as a very likable and credible witness.
Katrina Kaufman for us there at the courthouse. Thank you so much, Katrina.